Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all.
Best Nicolas Cage performance! That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcast should have a theme song. Podcast should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it.
You know what?
You're right. We got this.
I have questions before we start.
Go on.
Because I don't know exactly what we're figuring out here. This topic was suggested by our friend and a prior guest of the show, Fred Cross.
That's right.
Who has a great movie called Lear's Shadow that, if you look up online, is available to watch, I believe, through iTunes and a few other online.
It just dropped this past Tuesday, I think.
Yeah, so it is out now, available for you to see. Go check it out. Fred is an incredible actor.
Yeah, and it's basically, for most of the movie, it's a two-person film. And then one more cast member gets added in the third act. And it is just, it's powerhouse performances from oh geez.
Oh boy, you almost knocked over the table. No, this table won't knock over.
No, but I keep putting my elbows on it and getting noises.
Yeah,
so.
It's a weird, mid-century folding table.
Stop bragging about your mid-century table.
I tried to sell it once. Jennifer's like, we should sell it and get a smaller one, which makes sense. We have a smaller apartment. And
you and I would just be sitting closer together when we do the podcast.
Exactly. I got this at the Pasadena, at the Rose Bowl flea market. And it was expensive because it's an authentic,
like a real mid-century groovy table
by whoever made the best ones. And so I tried to sell it, and I finally found a guy who buys mid-century. He's like, "How much are you thinking?" So I just went and looked at prices for it. There were prices that were like $3,000
for this little table. Yeah. Look, it's a great table, but holy moly!
So I was like, I wrote him. I was like, "Well, it's listed for $3,000, which is not what I paid for it at all." And the guy was like, "No, I don't pay anywhere near that. So let me know who you find that will buy it." And then I immediately went, "Well, no, hold on. I'll take way less." You throw out a number. You throw out a number. What?
That move right there, that throw out a number move I hate that.
Because the first person who throws out a number loses in a negotiation.
Is that true? I don't know how negotiations work. I just feel bad. I feel like I'm either going to offer an insultingly low number.
Right.
Or depending on whether either an insultingly low or insultingly high, or you know what I mean?
Yes, 100%.
Unrealistic numbers that might either elicit an insult or a laugh.
Right. But that's why you want the other person to throw out a number.
Yeah. I want to know what the ballpark is.
Yeah. You can at least go, we're nowhere close. I need higher. Or if it's higher than you would have asked for, let's say you're negotiating for salary and you want $50,000 and they offer $60,000.
Oh,
you go, then you might negotiate a little bit just so it doesn't seem like you're going, "Yes, you sucker."
Yeah.
I was going to take way less.
Yeah. Wait, I'm terrible at any of that negotiating stuff. I was like, yeah, fine. That's great.
Okay, I will do it.
Whatever you say is correct. I have a tendency to think that whoever I'm talking to, and it works great on this show, knows more about everything than me.
Is that why you did Blood and Treasure as an internship?
Yeah, exactly. That's okay, right?
Yeah, sometimes it's out here.
I got copy credit and meals.
Yeah, but it's college credit, so it's even better. You get another degree now.
Oh, thank goodness.
From the School of Hard Knocks,
right?
Knucklehead.
But we're not here to talk about negotiating.
No, we're talking about Nick negotiating.
Ooh, how has he not created a podcast called that yet?
I don't know why. Because it sounds weird.
Yeah, I guess
it's really
hard.
I really need to enunciate this because it will sound terrible. That is a word that can sound terrible if you say it wrong.
Yeah.
I have a question though. So he asked best Nicolas Cage.
You look so exasperated already at the idea of Nicolas Cage. This reminds me, by the way, of the Community episode. I don't want to steal anything from Community. Do you remember that where Danny Pudi is trying to decide whether or not Nicolas Cage is a good actor? Where do you fall on that?
I do think he's a good actor.
I think he's a very good actor.
I think the issue is a lot of the times he's in a different movie than everybody else. Like a great example of that is Peggy Sue Got Married. Even Jim Carrey in that in a small role is less over the top than Nick Cage is because he makes a choice early on that he's going to have this voice for the entire movie.
Well, they're shot out of sequence.
They are, but
it's not like in the first scene he's like, "I'm going to do this thing. Well, I guess I got to do it forever now."
he still kind of has, but he made that he was like, I'm going to make it. He seems like a very intentional performer, right? Where he's like, I'm making a choice and I'm going to stick with and see that choice out. And I know Kathleen Turner in interviews has been like, that voice, he just showed up with it. And then that became what he was doing. And it throws everybody off.
Yeah. See, that's why I would love to work with a guy like him because I love performances that swing for the fences. Whether or not it's a home run or a fly out, like, I love a good swing for the fences performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some of his are just epic swings.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, the one I'm thinking of that comes to mind is, she's in every season of American Horror Story. Jessica Lange.
Yes.
Yeah. She swings for the fences and chews scenery in every season.
Right. But don't you feel like she fits into what she's doing?
She does fit into the world. Like, yeah. She's still gobbling up all the scenery.
I think you have a responsibility as an actor. And maybe I'm wrong because I don't have an Oscar and Nicolas Cage sure does.
Yeah.
To whatever choice you're making, that it fits within the world that you're playing in. Like, you're not there to blow the world apart.
Right.
Unless that's what you're told.
Unless that's what we've been hired to do.
And I don't think for something like Peggy Sue Got Married that's what they asked him to do. But in something like Raising Arizona,
yeah,
that fits, like, certain things fit his style better. And now,
and the Coen brothers fit his style to a T.
Absolutely. But now he's in sort of a different place where he's become almost like Al Pacino has. Like, you have young Al Pacino, who's like this sort of New York theater actor. And now he's become like a parody of himself because all you see is an impression of him.
Right. It's Al Pacino doing Al Pacino.
And he's still very good.
Yeah.
I love Al Pacino.
I saw him play Tennessee Williams and it was just watching Tennessee Williams as portrayed by a caricature of Al Pacino.
Yeah, exactly.
So he just walked around the stage and gave a little southern affectation and called all the boys baby. And he would just hold out his hand and like pet them down their chest. Like, baby, come here, baby. That was his version of Tennessee Williams.
Did he, I feel like when you go to see him in something like that, you're just waiting for him to go, ooh-ah.
I know, right? Like, it's play the hits. Like, it's a play.
But I think that became sort of, that's a fantastic performance. But it has become sort of a symbol of what he is. Just like the Wicker Man scene with the bees has become what we all think Nicolas Cage is, that he's like pumping everything up.
Yeah.
That he's, again, playing on a different level and making things bigger than they need to be, or maybe sometimes smaller than they need to be. And maybe that's a good thing because I will watch a lot of his movies and enjoy them. But are we looking for...
Do we want the best performance, not the best movie?
Right.
Or do we want the most performance?
That's my question.
Yeah.
Is his best performance when he's at his most Nick Cage?
I think it's gotta be. The point of this topic is the Nick Cageiest Nick Cage.
So does that mean we eliminate Leaving Las Vegas, which is maybe his best performance from a critical standpoint?
I mean, it's so funny to immediately off the bat eliminate his Academy Award winning performance. I mean, he's great in that movie.
He is great in that movie. He's great in Moonstruck.
Yeah. But Moonstruck is Nicolas Cage in Nicolas Cage mode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it fits.
Yeah.
It fits that movie.
I like the idea that we are going to figure out most Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
I think that will lead us to, or at least keep that in mind.
Should we figure out what we think his best performance is, like from just a critical?
Well, it's Leaving Las Vegas. Is
a really good job he served. It may not be. It may not be. It very well could be. And then put that against the most Nicolas Cage performance to see which one we like better.
I think our most Nicolas Cage performance might wind up being the best Nicolas Cage performance. Because
Really?
I guess now that I'm looking at this list in front of me, it might not be Leaving. I know he got an Oscar for Leaving Las Vegas because it was heavy and heartfelt and intense and important. But man, he plays two dudes in Face Off.
He does play two dudes.
Like,
isn't he? And he's the one who gets to the scene where he goes, "I'm going to take his face off," which is like that great Nicolas Cage sort of pause. And the other one is the ramped up and sighted out of nowhere.
Oh man, he in National Treasure 2. Look, I know. By the way, you know I'm obsessed with National Treasure movies.
Them as well. I love them as well.
I don't know that this, as the leading man, I don't know that that's going to be his most Nicolas Cage or best. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
There is a lot. No, I was saying I love the movie. I love those movies as well. Even more so, just spending the more time we've spent together, it's sort of leached onto me.
Yeah, exactly. Like You're welcome.
Anytime I can watch them and enjoy them a great deal. First more than the second.
Yeah.
I would certainly go to see a third in the theater without hesitation.
I don't think they're going to make it.
I know.
Yeah.
It's the same. But
I know. Oh, to finish my thought though,
Yes, go.
of the Nicolas Caginess, my favorite line in National Treasure 2 is when Nicolas Cage turns to John Voight, who is playing his father, and he goes, "Dad, you need to stop overreacting." And it's my favorite line Nicolas Cage has ever said. And it is perfect.
And it does sort of illustrate that he gets it.
Yeah. He knows what he is. Did I ever tell you my story of, seeing Nicolas Cage at the Magic Castle?
Please tell it again. I know you have, but
Okay.
I want more.
So some friends and I went to the Magic Castle one night, which is for those who don't know, it's like the Temple of Magic in the United States or maybe the world. It's the, headquarters of the Magic Society. And there's a bunch of little rooms where there are magic shows that happen. And we walk into the close-up room. And we're late getting into the room, but we had some friends who were working there and they're like, "Yeah, we'll get you in. We'll squeeze you in, just along the walls here." We go inside. My buddy Joe, he sort of gets placed up along a wall next to what looks to be a vampire in a Motley Crue cover band. It is this man with long hair, like a vintage, almost looks like a coat that a 18th century cavalryman would be wearing.
A waistcoat
with the tails. Yeah. A leather waistcoat with tails.
Sure.
Leather, of course. A velour vest and I'm going to guess, nearly empty, if not entirely empty, bottle of champagne in his hand that he's just been slugging out of. My buddy walks in and stands next to him. I feel bad telling his story, but we were all there, so it still counts.
Sure.
And Nicolas Cage turns to him and just looks him up and down and goes, "You're a plant." Because it was a magic show. My buddy, God love him, turns to Nicolas Cage and he goes, "Shut up, man. You're a plant." And Nicolas Cage went, "Ha!" And then through the rest of the magic show, at the end of all of the magician's tricks, Nicolas Cage would just rub his eyes and go, "What?" Like, there is nothing more magical than watching Nicolas Cage watch a magic show. And his date at one point, she was the assistant, or not the assistant, the volunteer.
Yeah.
And in that, he was fully engaged and very loud. And it was, if you ever get a chance to watch a magic show with Nicolas Cage, I guess is my point.
2 questions. First question is, were the people watching the show, were they appreciating like, the camp of Nicolas Cage overreacting, or were they like, this vampire is this drunk vampire? Yeah. No, I think everybody was like, "Holy crap, it's Nicolas Cage. Let him do whatever he wants." He's the sorcerer.
Yeah.
The sorcerer's
He
apprentice.
is. He was dressed. That's what he was dressed like. He was dressed like a sorcerer.
He was dressed like a sorcerer character who was dressed less weird than he was that night.
Yeah.
He dressed it up.
Yeah.
Second question. Have more people heard about the time I saw a guy who looked like you at the Magic Castle recently?
Please don't post this picture.
We went to the Magic Castle, Jennifer and I, and we're standing in line to go not into the palace, but the parlor of Prestidigitation, the smaller theater right next to it. And there's a guy there who looks like a character Mark would have played in high school if they did like an adaptation to Goodfellas. Like,
it's basically just me, but younger with a goatee.
Like a goatee. You had a goatee at one point.
I did, yeah.
He was stockier than you are, but you were stocky at one point in your life.
Still am, but thanks.
But he also looked like you wearing a fake nose, and he looked really mad. Like, he just looked like
this sounds exactly like me.
A dour look on his face.
Yeah.
Right?
And also he was 6'3".
Yeah.
And also was a lady and in heels and looked nothing like you.
And I turn, he's nearby, and so I do what anybody would do, which is I turn to Jennifer and say, "Jennifer, don't look now, but Mark is over my right shoulder." Like Mean Mark. I called him Mean Mark.
Hilarious.
She's like, "I almost did a double take." So we go and sit down, and we're seated in the parlor. And they go, "Everybody, please give a warm round of applause for the magic stylings of Jimmy H." And he emerges, the Mark-gical performer, as I call him, emerges.
A Mark-magician.
And then sounds nothing like you at all, which was the most, it kind of took me out of the whole show. And he was a great performer. He was very warm, very kind.
Was he doing Nicolas Cage's voice from Peggy Sue Got Married?
For my first trick. I'm so excited. We pick a card.
He was so nice. And now there's a picture, which I've circulated internally, of this magician holding a banana in one hand and what I thought was a remote, but is actually a cell phone in the other.
And when you sent me that picture, what did I say? We should do that episode.
Yes.
Banana or remote.
We'll figure that out eventually.
Yeah.
But he did, it's Magic Mark XXL is his name.
Oh my God.
So look up Jimmy H, magician, and decide for yourself. Because it doesn't look like you, but it looks enough like you to be like a character you'd be hired to play. But at Tony and Tina's wedding. That's what it looks like. If you were at Tony and Tina's wedding, and you're like,
if I was the table magician at Tony and Tina's wedding.
Yeah. Or
oh
just
my
like
God.
I'm sure I've never seen Tony and Tina's wedding, but I assume that there's a mobster there somewhere.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, are you telling me that the show Tony and Tina's Wedding, deals in Italian stereotypes?
Well, I'm just assuming that they explore the rich cultural heritage
Sure.
that Italian immigrants brought to this country many, many years ago and continue to enrich our society.
Exactly. Italians are responsible for the immigrant Ettore Boiardi, my friend.
Yeah, that's right.
Who later became famous as Chef Boyardee.
Because we don't pronounce names properly.
Exactly. They had to phonetically spell his name on the cans of pasta. Let's talk about Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
So I've got a list right here. Well, you've got his IMDb page open with all the movies. There are 100 films on this, and some of them are like, come on, it's not going to be that one. There's some stuff way down at the bottom. Look, I'm sure Guarding Tess, where he played Secret Service man,
former First Lady.
Yeah, is, we don't have to talk about that, right?
No, it's enjoyable. I do want to pick one up, that I think is a, let's say good performance, not a most performance.
Okay.
Which is the movie 8mm.
Oh, okay.
Very good movie.
He's just kind of like the protagonist.
He's a detective
in a dark,
who winds up in like the weird sort of S&M underground of Los Angeles, while pursuing a killer. And Joaquin Phoenix is like a sex store employee who becomes sort of his Watson. But he's very good in that. And it's it's really a lot less of an over the top. Although there is a look to him always like he's trying to figure out a math problem. And you get a lot of math problem Nick Cage
in that movie. Yeah. Well, look, anytime anyone is playing a cop, there's just going to be a lot of looking in 2 or 3 different directions and trying to figure out what's happening.
Yeah.
All right. So he's done some good work. He's done some garbage work.
Do you have any other bests? Like Adaptation?
Adaptation I thought is great.
Very good.
We're just digging in. We're just diving in.
I'm sort of diving in, just trying to pick out what are some like really good. What are things that could maybe hang with Leaving Las Vegas would be in that category? Just to get.
You could do a double feature. You could do a Vegas double feature and go Honeymoon in Vegas followed by Leaving Las Vegas. Honeymoon in Vegas is really fun.
Yes,
and they just had a Broadway musical of it.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah, it was just on Broadway a couple years ago.
It lends itself well to a Broadway musical,
right? Rob McClure, brilliant. Saw him play Chaplin once. He's amazing.
Wow. But he's very good in that movie. And comedic we very rarely take comedic performances and laud them as acting jobs. But he does a very, because of the extent to which he kind of grounds it, because he's the guy who has weird stuff happening to him instead of being the weird guy in a normal situation. And I think he plays that well. It's a much more grounded performance than we see nowadays. Nowadays it's much more pumped up, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's like you were saying before. He has gone into, now I'm going to be Nicolas Cage mode.
Yeah. He's also very good in Sorcerer's Apprentice.
He's really fun. And this is what I think we're going to wind up leaning toward. Like, look, Leaving Las Vegas is great. Bringing Out the Dead, he is great and dark, but
that's where he's the ambulance driver.
Yeah, right? But quiet, dark Nicolas Cage. That's not my Nicolas Cage.
Although.
No, my Nicolas Cage wears a leather duster and screams erratically at inappropriate times.
If you want a version of Nicolas Cage that is wearing a long jacket, with also a perfect performance, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I was just gonna say, I was like scrolling down to find it right here, which I just saw and loved.
Yes.
It is, man, is that movie fantastic.
Brilliant, perfect movie.
It is perfect.
And he steals every scene he's in as Spider-Man Noir. It's like and he's a guy who loves comic books. So I'm sure that was he was very excited to do that. Obviously, he very famously was supposed to play Superman.
Right.
for Tim Burton.
The death of Superman.
Yes,
Watch
thank
the movie.
goodness it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Based on just the test shots we saw of the light up Superman suit.
Oh boy.
And him with long hair.
Yeah. It looks like they went, hey, why don't we combine Fabio, Jesus, and Jamie Foxx from that Spider-Man movie?
Oh, where he played Electro?
Yeah.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2?
I don't remember which one it was. They've done a lot of reboots. They're going to start rebooting things that came out last summer.
I can't wait.
They're doing a Harry Potter reboot.
Oh, are they really?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, no.
I know. Yeah, I think we can discount a lot of the Nicolas Cage movies. There's a big chunk of time where he was just the protagonist and the most expensive budget item in an action movie.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And he did a bunch of those.
He has done a bunch. What is the one where he can see into the future?
Oh, yes.
Look it up here. It's like oh man. It's not The Trust. I'm just sitting here going through his
I know we really should have done
it doesn't matter. You know what? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's not that one.
Because he can see like 11 seconds into the future or something?
Yeah. Wait, is it Next?
Maybe.
All right, but here's some good rom-com Nicolas Cage from back in the day. Another good one. I always liked It Could Happen to You. Mm-hmm. Cop tips waitress $2 million or whatever.
Because he wins the lottery.
He wins the lottery and he says he doesn't have money to tip her. He says, look, if I win the lottery, I'll give you half of it. And then he actually does. And that, by the way, is the perfect romantic comedy premise to me. Something ridiculous and sort of magical and serendipitous happens to two strangers who fall in love.
And isn't it Meg Ryan is the waitress?
No, Bridget Fonda.
Bridget Fonda.
Yeah, who I had a huge crush on from Doc Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. We can go way back into the Nicolas Cage machine.
He's sort of like a side character in that.
Kick-Ass he's great in.
He is really good in those. Again, like when you give him comic book stuff, he's not that he isn't invested in other stuff that he does, but I think he gets up to another level. The Ghost Rider movies, which are not good movies, you can tell he's there doing
he's having fun.
Best.
Yeah.
He's not just like, I know they want Nicolas Cage, so I'm just going to come in and Nicolas Cage my way through this.
Right.
But they are not nowhere near his best performance. Spider-Man Noir is up there.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's not going to be the best Nicolas, maybe the best comic book Nicolas Cage.
It is a smaller role. I don't think it would unseat Leaving Las Vegas because it's just not meaty enough.
Were you involved in Bad Lieutenant Port of Call New Orleans?
Of course I was.
Yeah, we did that together.
When he steps on
the listeners, people of the world, I don't know if you know that Hal and I are in a Nicolas Cage movie, at least vocally.
Yeah.
We did if you ever find the version of Bad Lieutenant Port of Call New Orleans that has been cleaned up for television, every time there's a swear word, it's me and Hal and some buddies of ours making up insanity.
Well, also we're in the background of a lot of things.
We are in the background in a lot of things.
When he steps on the old woman's oxygen tube.
He is, for those who don't know this movie, he plays, if you know Bad Lieutenant, it's just a
Harvey Keitel.
I don't even know if you'd call him a corrupt cop, just a horrible human who is a cop.
Yes.
And Nicolas Cage takes over for this movie, and he's lunacy in it.
When he steps on the woman's, he goes to the retirement home and steps on the old woman's oxygen tube. I think it's Annie who is the voice of the But I think
so. You can watch that movie and you can hear Annie Savage.
That may be one of my specialties is wheezy breathing because I have asthma, which is why there's some was it Day of the Dead that we did? Or Dawn of the Dead?
One of them.
I'm the breathing of the main zombie. That's me. That's my.
Oh, I'm usually, because of the way my voice sounds, they usually have me do, if there's a television on in the background, I'm either a sportscaster, a newscaster.
Yes, I do a lot of sportscasting.
We do a lot of that. Were we the two? Did we do, there was a soccer game going on and we got to yell, goal! Which was really fun.
One time, for Alex Barretto, she had a movie where I came in and did ADR work and was a baseball announcer, but like a radio guy who does it by himself. Ooh. And I think I did what felt like 5 minutes straight of a baseball game, just trying to keep track of pitch counts and imagine a baseball game playing out in my head.
Oh, wow. I mean, look, if anybody's going to be able to do that, it's you.
That is a specialty of mine. I know sports well enough that I can walk through. I can provide the sports information.
I can just fix swear words.
That's right.
All right, let's make a list.
Okay.
Let's make a list of what we think are the big contenders. Since we've mentioned a couple and had a little fun with some of his either middling or more ridiculous roles.
Uh-huh.
What's going to be on the top of this? Not the top. What are the top contenders that are going to be on this list? I'm going to throw a few out.
Yeah.
And you tell me if you agree. Face Off,
Sure.
Con Air,
Yes.
The Rock.
Of course.
I'm putting National Treasure in there.
Okay. Wicker Man.
Wicker Man for its sheer lunacy.
Yes.
Raising Arizona.
Uh-huh.
Moonstruck.
Yes.
Adaptation? Or is that?
Is it better? Do you think that performance is better than Leaving Las Vegas? It's okay if the answer is yes.
No. So we got to put Leaving Las Vegas in there. Basically, Leaving Las Vegas in there is the pedigreed one.
What about World Trade Center?
I never saw World Trade Center.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel bad. It might be his best performance.
It's not. Can I shout out? I mean, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's not his best. Can I just shout him out as Fu Manchu in the Werewolf Women of the SS short in Grindhouse?
Oh my God.
Which feels like that is the most Nicolas Cage possible, but it's just a cameo.
That is maximum Cage.
And it's just him, I think, laughing. I just think it's him going, fully dressed up.
All right. Do we like this list?
I'm just looking to see if there's anything else. Do we want to put Bad Lieutenant in there? Because it is pretty.
I think it's really dark.
I know, but it's a lot of Nicolas Cage, like.
It is a lot of Nicolas. You know what it is though? It feels like it is.
Ground anything in that movie at all.
Yeah, but it's also him just playing to whatever the worst parts of his id are. It's like, hey Nick, just go be like he does terrible, terrible things. Like it's the combination of the writing, the directing, and Nicolas Cage's performance that creates this person that is just awful. So maybe in my mind, like he's just too terrible. That character is too terrible a person for it to be his best. And and by your thing of, is it going to beat this? I honestly, in my mind, it's going to be tough to beat Face Off, Raising Arizona. Face Off, Raising Arizona, and Con Air, I think are my three. They're the most Nicolas Cage to me. They're him having fun in cool movies. Like Con Air, sure. Give him a dumb accent. Like, not dumb, but give Nicolas Cage like, I'm gonna make this guy sound like this. Is that all right? And they're like, yeah, sure, Nick. Whatever you want to do, buddy.
Was he from Louisiana in that movie?
Yeah, that might have been his choice. They might have added that line later.
That was back when, I'm still a cool place. New Orleans is a very cool place. But it feels like there was a time where every celebrity wanted to be from New Orleans.
Sure, because Harry Connick Jr. is the world's coolest celebrity.
Yes, that's right.
So everybody wanted to be him. That's why everybody took piano lessons.
I thought it was because of the Cajun Gourmet.
I guarantee.
Yeah, they wanted to be like him.
Oh, man. That I didn't realize until recently. I watched some of his episodes. I went on a old school Cajun PBS cooking show spree. And I was like, wow, my grandfather really crafted much of his look and vibe from this guy. You know what I mean?
Isn't he like this?
Like denim shirt, denim pants, suspenders.
I think that just happens at a certain point.
You just become that. If you're from the South, if you're an old man from the South, you just become that guy.
You're like, what is comfortable, but I also don't want to be a slob.
Mm-hmm.
I want to keep my pants up.
Yeah.
Belts suck. So I'm going to wear suspenders.
I love suspenders. Did we do belt or suspenders ever?
I don't know if we have. Maybe we did.
It's suspenders.
I haven't worn suspenders in a long time.
I love them.
But I kind of would like to.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get suspenders.
Get some suspenders, man.
What if I got suspenders?
Wear suspenders over your collection of Comic-Con t-shirts.
Should I get rainbow suspenders so I can just look like Robin Williams all the time?
Yeah. I look like Robin Williams or like Victor Garber in the original Godspell production. I think he was in was it the Superman shirt and suspenders and rainbow suspenders he wore for that?
I think you're right.
Look, we are really getting off this Nicolas Cage topic.
We got to get off.
We got it. Yeah.
Well, all right.
Much like Nicolas Cage himself, this conversation has been rambling, sometimes incoherent, and frequently yelled.
Well, why don't we take a break? It sounds like we have there are no other finalists either one of us wants to add.
During the break, we'll take a look and see if there's anything.
Right.
But they don't need to just listen to us scroll.
That's fine. So, when we're done scrolling, while we're scrolling, you'll hear, about some of the other great shows on the Maximum Fun Network, and then we'll come back and we'll settle this thing once and for all. Oh!
Welcome back to Fireside Chat on KMAX. With me in studio to take your calls is the dopest duo on the West Coast, Oliver Wong and Morgan Rhodes. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, I'm looking for a music podcast that's insightful and thoughtful, but also helps me discover artists and albums that I've never heard of.
Yeah, man. Sounds like you need to listen to Heat Rocks. Every week, myself, and I'm Morgan Rhodes, and my co-host here, Oliver Wong, talk to influential guests about a canonical album that has changed their lives.
Guests like Moby, Open Mike Eagle, talk about albums by Prince, Joni Mitchell, and so much more.
Yo, what's that show called again?
Heat Rocks, deep dives into hot records.
Every Thursday on Maximum Fun.
There's nothing quite like sailing in the calm international waters on my ship, the SS Biopic.
Avast! It's actually pronounced biopic.
No, you dingus! It's biopic!
Who the hell says that? It's biopic. It comes
It's
with
the
word
words for biography and picture.
All right, that is enough. Ahoy, I'm Dave Holmes. I'm the host of the newly rebooted podcast, formerly known as International Waters, designed to resolve petty but persistent arguments like this. How? By pitting two teams of opinionated comedians against each other with trivia and improv games, of course. Winner takes home the right to be right.
What podcast be this?
It's called Troubled Waters, where we disagree to disagree.
All right, we're back. We have extensively gone through the OV. How do you say that word?
Oeuvre?
No, that's an egg, right? We've gone through the egg of. Yeah, we've gone through the oof of Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
And we've come up with what we think are the seven real finalists here. Yes. Well, we have 8. You want to keep Wicker Man on the list?
I mean, we're really only keeping it on there for the bees.
Let's cut it. I also did want to give a shout out to one I forgot about earlier, which is City of Angels. Mm-hmm. I really liked his performance in that. And this is why I think he's a fun actor. Because he does crazy things. I watched an interview with him about this movie, and they said, how do you differentiate? Because the movie is about a guardian angel who falls in love with a nurse, like an ER nurse that he is guarding, and he decides he's going to fall from heaven, become human, and then they fall in love, and it's a heartbreaking and beautiful love story. I always really liked that movie. But I saw this interview with him, and they said, how do you differentiate between playing an angel and when the angel has fallen and is human? And Nicolas Cage. And then I went back and watched it again. I was like, oh my God, he's so good. He went, angels don't blink. So watch him while he's playing an angel. He does not blink. And the first thing he does when he falls to earth is start blinking. So that's really physically, I love a physical manifestation that can, if no one notices but him, he notices. You know what I mean? And there is a difference in the characters. Wow. Not blinking makes you seem ethereal and, outside of this world. And then as soon as you start blinking, it's like you're snapping out of it. You know what I mean? Snapping out of a trance.
It is also, a very Nicolas Cage answer too. Cause you're expecting more I wanted this and this is what that person was feeling. And then all of a sudden to be human and be aware of mortality. But no, you just get angels don't blink. That's all you get. That's all you're going to get from him.
But we don't have to put that on the list. I don't think it's one of his best. I don't think it beats any of these final 7 movies. Leaving Las Vegas, Face Off, The Rock, Con Air, National Treasure, Raising Arizona, and Moonstruck.
How do you decide? What are your criteria now? Because a lot of these the majority of 3 of them are good performances. Mm-hmm. Where you'd be like, oh, that is a really good performance. Moonstruck he's in the same movie as everybody else, I guess is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Although he is in Con Air too. It's just a bananas movie. Yeah. And it's bananas Nicolas Cage. But Moonstruck, Raising Arizona, and Leaving Las Vegas, I would put in the critically lauded performance category. Yeah. And then Nick Cage Unleashed
is The Rock, Face Off, and Con Air.
And National Treasure.
I just want National Treasure to be on this list, but I think we have to eliminate it.
It's and not here's why. Either one, right?
It is one of my all-time favorite movies. That said, it's Nicolas Cage as a protagonist, and there's not enough crazy. I want some Nicolas Cage-isms.
Yeah.
He has a couple here and there. He plays a very smart sort of, and it does appear in moments, like he's very smart and sort of quieter, and it's not him being a big over the top character, but every once in a while he would like throw in a thing.
A couple of years ago at Pensacon, we were doing Ken Plume's Real Crime panel, and you chose National Treasure.
Yeah, as a movie that is underrated.
Criminally underrated. And you chose when they're on the Charlotte. When they're on this is the
clip that I chose.
Yeah. And then, so the way it works in this panel, which is great, and you can listen to their podcasted episodes if you become a patron for Ken Plume, patreon.com/Ken Plume. Somebody nominates a film, and then the other two people also watch that film and each nominate a clip that either supports the main person's argument or is counter to it.
Right.
So you and I think, chose clips that came they were both clips on the Charlotte, weren't they? Because mine was him figuring out, like, oh, it's a crossword, and then we do that, and then go over there, and this is
the moments in that movie when he is figuring stuff out loud. You know what? I'm leaving it on the list. I was going to eliminate it because it wasn't the most Nicolas Cage or critically loved Nicolas Cage.
You wanted to hang on longer?
I wanted to hang on longer. I love those moments.
I also want to nominate, by the way, very quickly, a great moment from Gone in 60 Seconds, which is the moment of the trailer where he stops and then waves his hands around and then goes, "Let's go."
Oh yeah. That's become like a signature Nicolas Cage move. Hold your hands up and pause and then shake your hands.
Yeah. He's up in that sort of
you can't see what Hal's doing, but it's dead on.
His upper body turns into like a pitchfork where his head is the middle and then the two on the sides and then everything's moving.
All right. So it's holding on for a little longer. Let's talk about, why don't we pull one from each category?
Okay.
Since we have the National Treasure category, we're pulling National Treasure from that one. And then from the
National Treasure category.
From the critically lauded, Nicolas Cage movies. That's Leaving Las Vegas, Raising Arizona, and Moonstruck. Now, Raising Arizona is a previous winner on this podcast, or previous decision. I don't want to say winner, but a previous, It won of what is the best Coen Brothers movie.
Yes.
And it's largely due to his chemistry with Holly Hunter, but is just his performance in general in that.
It's great.
By the way, he is all three of these performances he is not doing alone.
No.
He is doing this with Elizabeth Shue, who, did she also get the Oscar?
She was nominated.
Brilliant Elizabeth Shue in Leaving Las Vegas, the brilliant Cher in Moonstruck, and the brilliant Holly Hunter in Raising Arizona.
Yes.
So it's funny that his three movies that are him at his best, he needs a great co-star to rein him in.
Isn't it true though that he has like Jon Voight and Justin Bartha and I cannot remember her name.
Diane
Kruger. He has great co-stars in a lot of the movies.
He does. But I think I guess I'm just thinking of love interest, the women that he's playing opposite who are his sparring partners in the movie.
Those are his sparring partners. Yes.
But we've got to pull one of these. I know it's so hard because you can't discount that Leaving Las Vegas he's brilliant in. But it's a quieter.
I feel like knowing what he is capable of and how over the top he can go, the restraint that he shows in allowing, because really the person taking up the oxygen in the room in Raising Arizona is Holly Hunter. Her character is much more manic. She is much more in charge. So while he's definitely doing a character thing, he's very giving in that film. He's not trying to overpower the scene. He's a very good scene partner in that movie.
Yeah.
And I think that from a technical standpoint, I appreciate a great deal. It's not as showy.
But the flip side of that, assists don't get you sneaker deals.
This is true.
So that is an ensemble movie.
What a good sports reference.
Right? Did I do okay?
You did great.
Thanks. So we can eliminate Raising Arizona.
Wow.
It's a beautiful, wonderful movie and he's great in it, but, he's not doing all of the heavy lifting in that movie.
That's
Holly Hunter is doing more of the heavy lifting than he is, along with, Bill Forsythe and John Goodman, who are brilliant in it.
Yeah, I would say he has more of a journey to go as an actor. It's much more strenuous what he did for Leaving Las Vegas.
Yeah.
For sure. What about Moonstruck?
Moonstruck, I feel it might be the same thing as Raising Arizona in that it's Cher's movie. Yeah. He's great in it and he's fun and hilarious. And I mean, they're doing Shanley. Like he's a playwright. Right. So they are doing, it is a theatrical movie that he thrives in, but that's Cher's movie, man. Yeah. All right. This is the sound of that getting crossed off.
Done.
So from that category, shouldn't be a surprise.
Leaving Las Vegas.
His Academy Award winning performance in Leaving Las Vegas.
Sure.
All right. So from the National Treasure category.
It's National Treasure 1, not National Treasure Book of Secrets.
Great. So let's go to the most Nicolas Cage category. And that is 3 very fun movies. Face Off, The Rock, and Con Air. Yeah. I mean, look, Face Off has the advantage of him. It's so hard that I can't imagine it not being Face Off.
It's not, I don't think that's the most, I think that I would argue The Rock is more Nicolas Cage because you have a lot more of the like, you're freaking me out, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot more of him
but The Rock is also
confused and nervous, but also the weird sex scene on the porch, on the roof of his home before he goes to visit Sean Connery. There's another really good sort of scene partner for him.
Yeah.
It's just, that's pretty Nicolas Cage. Con Air to me is more of a John Woo movie than a Nicolas Cage movie.
See, I think of The Rock as more of a like action. Who directed The Rock?
That's Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. Like that feels to me more like a Michael Bay movie than a Nicolas Cage movie. It feels like basically, here's a good way to put it, I think, to look at it. Could any actor have done it and made the movie as good as it was? Can you think of another actor doing it and it still being the same movie? And I would argue that in The Rock, there are a heck of a lot of really great, at that time, young leading men who could play, who were forced to play opposite Sean Connery. Not forced to, you know what I mean? Like who are cast opposite Sean Connery. I don't know. It's hard. What do you think?
See, I don't think Face Off is any different. I think there are a lot of actors who probably could have done it and done it very well. Mm-hmm. And it is an enjoyable movie for what I enjoyed it very much when I saw it.
Sure. There is exactly one other actor who did it and did it equally well. And that's John Travolta.
There's a great boat chase in it.
Yeah.
But to me, out of these 3, it's probably Con Air.
Yeah. It's
starting going, I'm going to prove to you God exists.
Let the bunny go. Like so many.
Taking the bullet in the arm and then not stopping.
Yeah.
Which my father, I remember him pointing that out to somebody. He's like, then he takes a bullet in the arm and just keeps walking. He doesn't even flinch. Like for how cool that was.
Yeah, but Face Off, he's playing the good guy and the bad guy.
So see, he is in Con Air too. He's a criminal.
No, in Con Air, he's
is he a marshal who's undercover?
No, he's not a bad guy. He
shouldn't be in
He's
jail.
a good guy who should not be with these guys.
He killed somebody by mistake.
Yeah, it was like good guy goes to prison for circumstances.
I think he kills somebody.
Yeah.
And
he's not a bad guy in that. He's a good guy in that.
Yeah, but it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, but is that just the movie being ridiculous? I feel like in Face Off, the performance is insanity. Here's why I'm going to keep fighting for Face Off.
Go ahead.
You get the Nicolas Cage of The Rock. I mean, there's even prison in it. You know what I mean? You get the protagonist Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm. There's even prison in it.
Yeah. Please. Yeah. You get the protagonist, Nicolas Cage, who has those moments of fear and lashing out and runs the gamut of all the emotions. And then you've got villain Nicolas Cage in that movie, who is just him swinging for the fences and gobbling up scenery.
I feel like the most Nicolas Cage moment in
is
that
Face
movie,
Off.
I think the most Nicolas Cage moment in Face Off. And again, we're looking at the performance, not the film.
Right. And that's why I think Con Air is a more Nicolas Cage movie, but is not as much of a Nicolas Cage performance.
To me, the only moment that stands out in Face Off is when the character is high. And at that point, when he's doing, that's the, I want to take his face off. He's high in that moment.
Yeah.
So like anybody who's playing it might do something similar to that. Now, of course, his version of it is way over the top and crazy.
Of course it is.
And delicious because he's Nicolas Cage.
Oh, you know what he is? He is like sitting down to a 20-piece McNuggets. You know it's bad for you, but it's going to fill you up and it's going to taste good.
In which of these movies does he seem the most like
a 20-piece McNugget?
The last time I got a 20-piece McNugget, they gave it to me in 2 10-piece boxes. I never felt like a bigger piece of crap. Eating in a McDonald's and go like there's something to the psychology of like, well, that's one box down and then going to the next one and then just eating it. Cause at that point you're like, well, I ate a box. It's like it's like the My 800-Pound Life, the woman who is putting a bunch of whipped cream on a waffle and then she looks left, looks to the right, shrugs and then sprays it in her mouth.
You know what's ridiculous? This is the second time in a month. Did you just watch this
again?
This is the second time in a month you've told the lady on the show whipped cream story.
You know, it just is one of those moments. You get through the first and you just shrug. You're like, internally.
I guess I'm doing this.
I guess, what am I going to do? Throw these other 10 away? That's wasteful. I guess I'll eat them.
Oh, I could eat chicken McNuggets like they're popcorn in a movie, and I will start at the beginning of the movie.
Right.
Yeah. And, when I will start at the beginning when Hawkeye is out there showing his daughter how to arch.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And I will not stop eating them chicken McNuggets until the everybody's signature comes up in the credits.
I'll start the chicken nuggets with, I'm Maria Menounos. You've been watching Movie Feed. We took you back behind the scenes of This Is Us and showed you a preview of the upcoming Crudes 5, Lost in Time. And then by time the first green screen that comes up that says this preview has been approved for audiences,
Food's gone.
I'm closing the box. Throwing it.
But you're opening the second box that has 10 more McNuggets in it.
Sorry, I'm closing the second box and throwing it aside, casting it out of my village.
Oh man.
There's something about his Con Air performance where it not only feels like even in that movie that he's in a different movie, but that he almost like he either really cares or doesn't care at all. And you cannot tell which one it is.
Do you mean Nicolas Cage as an actor caring about the movie?
Correct. You cannot tell the level of investment he has in it at all. Like you just can't. And he chooses a weird accent. That's that is if you're playing Nicolas Cage bingo, weird accent is on every card. Yeah, that's not like he's not doing it. It's not terrible.
No, it's fine.
But it's also doesn't sound like that's where he's from.
Look, he, as somebody who has to do an accent in a show, not easy.
No. Did you have a coach?
I watched a lot of Scorsese movies where Irish dudes get shot in the head in Boston.
So you watched The Departed?
Yeah. They're The Departed, and then, I guess they're not all Scorsese movies. The Town.
Oh, The Town. Just all Boston.
Yeah. Which actually there's a great sketch that Seth Meyers did.
Yeah.
A great Boston sketch that's just people, speaking in thick towny accents and then getting shot.
There's also a great, Rachel Dratch and Tina Fey.
Oh yeah. Oh ma, this sweater's wicked pisser.
Yeah. Let's go to
a scrunchie.
I got a wicked craving for a Frebel.
Yeah. Was it? No, it's a no single item should cost more than $12. $12 for my for $12. Maybe I could get a scrunchie. It's such a great sketch.
Find Dratch and Fey, people.
Yeah. Dratch and Fey, one of the classics. It's on that, the Second City album, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Not like their best of live.
Yeah, there's something that they had later adapted into their two-person show.
I saw him do it live, back in the day, and was it Paradigm Lost that was in? Or one of the shows back then when I was in college, and I would just go to Second City all the time.
Right.
And that was the era of Dratch and Fey there. So it was like, oh man.
Right after Pinata Full of Bees.
Right after Pinata Full of Bees.
It would have closed. That was 95, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
So, 96. So I got there in 97. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
But we're not here to talk about Second City main stage reviews in Chicago.
Don't you throw my words back in my face. All right. I will concede that, that it's Con Air.
Con Air is much more of a Nicolas Cage performance.
Now, so we're down to 3. Oh, I guess now's the time.
Goodbye.
National Treasure, you are so great.
Goodbye, National Treasure.
But is it Leaving Las Vegas or is it Con Air? So now it's most Nicolas Cage versus best Nicolas Cage.
There's no way we could possibly do this podcast and pick a good Nicolas Cage performance over a most Nicolas Cage performance.
Yeah, you know what? It's time to let the Leaving Las Vegas go. I tried to replace Bunny with Leaving Las Vegas, and then it didn't sound like a quote from the movie anymore. I'm real sorry.
I can't even quote Con Air. I can't. All I can quote is
I could just say, let the bunny go.
I'm going to prove to you there's a God. Something like that when he walks out.
I mean, that movie, that cast, that Nicolas Cage performance.
He's in denim the whole time.
He is, and with just his long, flowing, insane hair.
Mullet, yeah.
That I saw at the Magic Castle.
Did he have a mullet at Magic Castle?
He didn't have a mullet. No, did he have a mullet in the Con Air?
Oh, yeah, or at least it was slicked back. I'm pretty sure it's a mullet.
I thought it was just slicked back long hair.
1997, Nicolas Cage, long hair.
All right, Hal.
People of the world.
Oh, God.
I can't. I'm not going to keep up. I refuse.
Hilarious.
I can't, because I can't do it.
Yeah.
There's only one Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
And that's why we love him, or we love to laugh at him. Or
we do both.
We do both. He has a very unique career in that, like, from film to film, you could show a Nicolas Cage film festival of 10 movies, and 5 of them would have really good performances that pull you in and have you spellbound and work within the framework of the films that they're in, and then another 5 that are so banana pants crazy that it is like eating pairs of 10 chicken McNugget boxes, one after the other. It's just like, it's bad for you, but you love it. And that makes it great. And it's good to have. Like, you can have that stuff once in a while.
Yeah.
It's a treat.
Nicolas Cage, you are a treat, sir.
Yeah. And I can't imagine Fred asked us this going, tell me a very good performance.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be leaving Las Vegas, right, guys? No, man, it's Con Air.
It's Con Air. That is the best Nicolas Cage performance. Although he is great. I know there are a lot of people, they were talking about this in the Facebook group because that's where this was suggested, who were like, it's Spider-Man Noir. And I agree with you. I think
he's great in that.
That is among his best performances.
Not his movie.
Not his movie at all, but a great role and a great performance. So he doesn't necessarily have to be the star.
Right.
However, the more screen time Nicolas Cage gets, the more Nicolas Cage the performance will be. And again, this is not, we're looking for the most Nicolas Cage performance, which Spider-Man Noir is not. It works perfectly for what it is. And I would watch a Spider-Man Noir film, and I'm sure that it's already in development somewhere. I beg you, Sony, please renew your deal with Marvel Studios. Keep Tom Holland to Spider-Man. I'm going to get off of the soapbox now and
Fair enough.
Declare officially, people of the world, that Con Air, what is the name of his character in that movie?
Oh, I don't even remember.
Wait, I'm looking it up right now.
You really should have been more prepared for this exact moment.
I should have been.
You should not have started the sentence.
I should have.
In which he played
Cameron Poe.
Cameron Poe. I mean,
asked, unanswered.
This topic's closed, but there are many more topics to discuss. So please reach out to us on Twitter at We Got This Tweets, or check out the Maximum Fun subreddit. A flame war could be happening right now.
Or you can send us an email at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com.
Do we have to keep doing this?
No.
Okay.
We're done. Go to Facebook.com/groups/WeGotThisPodcast. Talk about Nicolas Cage. Celebrate Nicolas Cage. Wonder at Nicolas Cage.
Ooh.
Do all of those things with one another. Thank you to producer Ken Plume, researcher Kate McManus, graphic designer Uri Kelman, QA engineer Jen Alba.
And thanks to our musicians Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman for our score and theme song respectively. And thanks to you, our listeners, the people of the world, for giving Hal and I an opportunity to sit down, pop open some boxes of chicken McNuggets, and enjoy the magic of Nicolas Cage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin. And don't worry, everybody.
We got this.
We got this.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned. Audience supported.